What if I told you the Dallas Cowboys were this close to rewriting the NFL narrative? Picture this: two brothers, two Pro Bowl caliber players, one on offense, one on defense, wearing the same iconic star on their helmets under the bright lights of at&T Stadium. That dream has been floating in the minds of Cowboys fans for years now, and it revolves around one named Stefon Diggs. Yes, Stefon Diggs, the dynamic, fiery, elite wide receiver known for his electric route running and game-breaking plays. He's been a thorn in the side of defenses for years, whether it was in Minnesota with that miracle catch against the Saints, or in Buffalo catching dimes from Josh Allen and carving up secondaries with surgical precision. But the buzz we're hearing now, the noise rumbling out of Cowboys Nation, is that a trade involving Stefon Diggs to the Dallas Cowboys was not only discussed but could have been the perfect move. And as we unpack this blockbuster what-if scenario, you'll start to realize why this trade might have made more sense than it initially appeared, why it didn't happen, and whether the dream is really dead or just on pause. Now, let's talk football dynamics. The Cowboys have been circling for years, building a roster that's good but not quite great. They've got a franchise quarterback in Dak Prescott who, love him or not, has proven he can win games and put up numbers. They've got a top 3 receiver in CeeDee Lamb, who's only getting better each season, becoming a technician and a leader. On defense, they've got Micah Parsons, the kind of generational defensive force you build a whole era around. But what they've lacked, especially in playoff moments, is that second offensive punch, that guy who commands attention on every snap and forces defenses to make impossible choices. That's where Stefon Diggs enters the chat. Can you imagine lining up CeeDee Lamb on one side, Diggs on the other, and then putting Tony Pollard or even a new rookie running back in the backfield? That's firepower. That's pressure. That's the kind of offensive threat that gives coordinators nightmares. Now, this move would have made headlines not just for the on-field impact, but for the storyline. Diggs has a brother, Trevon Diggs, already playing cornerback for the Cowboys, and playing it at an elite level when healthy. Trevon signed a massive extension with Dallas, and there's been constant chatter about how much he'd love to play alongside his brother. They've joked about it in interviews, dropped hints on social media, and fans have been eating it up. The idea of the Diggs brothers locking down both sides of the ball for America's team was just too perfect. It's the kind of story that sells jerseys, that boosts morale, that ignites a locker room. It's the kind of narrative that gets everybody talking. And yes, from a marketing and morale standpoint, this could have been a dream scenario. So what happened? Why didn't Dallas pull the trigger? It comes down to money, fit, and philosophy. The Cowboys, under Jerry Jones, have historically been cautious about going all in with massive contracts for wide receivers, especially veterans. After the Amari Cooper situation, they've pivoted toward building around young talent they can control financially for longer. Meanwhile, Stefon Diggs is a guy who wants to win, yes, but he also demands respect, and part of that respect is financial. He's not looking for a discount. He's not coming cheap. So even if the Cowboys wanted him, they have to make space in the cap and possibly move pieces to make it work. That's not their current strategy. They're betting on youth, on development, and on creating a sustainable core. Plus, let's not forget that Diggs had a very public falling out with the Bills organization. There were visible frustrations on the sidelines, rumors of tension behind the scenes, and questions about whether he was still bought in. To some franchises, that's a red flag. To others, it's just a fiery competitor. It depends on the lens you're looking through. The Cowboys, while willing to gamble on talent, also seem cautious about bringing in personalities that could clash with their locker room chemistry. But let's talk about what this actually could have meant for Dallas. If they had traded for Diggs, the offensive ceiling would have skyrocketed. Defenses couldn't double Lamb anymore. Safety help would be spread thin. Suddenly, the Cowboys' red zone offense becomes far more dangerous, and third and long situations turn into realistic conversions instead of punts. This isn't just about flash, it's about functionality. It's about Dak having an experienced route technician who knows how to get open when things break down. Diggs isn't just a deep threat. He's a chess piece. He can play inside, outside, and win in every area of the field. And imagine the practice battles. Trayvon covering Stefon every day in training camp? That's the kind of iron sharpens iron competition that elevates everyone. Young corners would learn from watching Trayvon try to slow down one of the best in the game. Young receivers would see how a pro like Stefon preps, studies film, and masters his craft. The ripple effect could have transformed the offense and defense simultaneously. But again, this is the Cowboys we're talking about. Every offseason, fans hope Jerry Jones will finally go full win now mode and swing for the fences. Every offseason, we see Dallas flirting with big moves, then retreating into conservative roster building. It's not a bad strategy necessarily, it's kept them competitive. But has it made them champions lately? No. And that's the frustration. That's why this Diggs dream stings so much for fans. Because for once, the stars almost aligned. Literally. 2 Diggs stars in one locker room. But the moment passed. The Cowboys made a different move. They acquired George Pickens, a younger, cheaper receiver with massive upside. He's talented, no doubt. But he's not Stefon Diggs. Not yet. And that decision pretty much closed the door on the reunion. You're not bringing in Diggs after investing in Pickens unless you're ready to create a logjam at wideout and risk discontent. And now, Stefon Diggs finds himself in a totally different situation. He signed elsewhere, trying to bounce back from injury, and still looking to prove he's got plenty left in the tank. Maybe the Diggs brothers will cross paths on the field this season. Maybe they'll battle it out in a high-stakes NFC versus AFC game. Maybe they'll link up at the Pro Bowl or in the playoffs. But for now, the vision of them sharing a Cowboys locker room is just that, a vision. A fantasy. A fan wish that just didn't come true. Yet you can't help but think, what if? What if the Cowboys had just leaned in for once and gone all in on a splash move? What if they'd said, screw the cap, we're making this happen? What if Diggs in Dallas wasn't a headline but a reality? The ripple effect would have been massive. The media frenzy alone would have dominated headlines. Trayvon would have lit up with excitement. The chemistry, the fire, the competition, it all could have created a spark this team might desperately need. So where does that leave the Cowboys now? Still good. Still dangerous. But still searching for that final piece that gets them over the hump. Lamb is elite. Pickens has promise. Prescott still has doubters, but he's proven himself capable. The defense is young and explosive. Coaching has shifted. Culture is evolving. And there's still hope. But unless the Cowboys change their mentality, unless they're willing to make the bold moves, not just the safe ones, they'll remain in that limbo between contender and champion. That's what the Diggs trade would have represented. Boldness. Urgency. A belief that now is the time, not next year, not when the cap lines up, not when the stars are all young and cheap. Now. The league changes fast. Windows close faster. And sometimes, a perfect trade is less about stats and more about what it says to the world. It says you're serious. It says you're going for it. That's what Diggs in Dallas would have been. And while it didn't happen this time, fans can still dream. Because in this league, anything can happen. Trades materialize overnight. Stars switch jerseys in a flash. And maybe, just maybe, the Diggs brothers will team up one day before it's all said and done. Until then, Cowboys Nation watches, waits, and wonders. What could have been?